For participants, to inform, for link YouTube can check in Zoom chat. Once again, for participants can check the link YouTube on Zoom chat. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I will reading the rules of conducted of the webinar in this morning. The rules of International Online Nursing Conference 2020. 1. Participants should have filled in the registration form when entering the Zoominar room. 2. Participants should use the real name, the Zoom application account when following the Zoominar. 3. When participants entering a virtual room should turn off the microphone or mute. 4. Use chat or Q&A features for asking questions. 5. Certificates will be informed via Telegram group. Telegram group links will be provided when filling the evaluation links has been completed. 6. Please stay on Zoom or YouTube until the end of Zoominar. Two informations for all participants to fill the attendance on the link on the screen. Two informations for all participants to fill the attendance on the link on the screen. Okay, for participants, just to reinform two informations for all participants to fill the attendance on the link on the screens. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear Chairman of the PPNI DPD Jember Regency, what be respected Chancellor of the University of Muhammadiyah Jember, what be respected Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences University of Muhammadiyah Jember, the Honorable International Seminar Speakers, the Honorable Lecturers of the Faculty of Health Science University of Muhammadiyah Jember, and all seminar participants are happy. Alhamdulillah, praise be to God. Let us always pray the presence of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His grace, taufiq, and life, so that on this morning, Saturday, 22 August 2020, we can gather in the event International Online Nursing Conference, stimulating the immune system through complementary therapist-based nursing practice in the new normal era in good health. Salawat and salam may always be divided to the Lord of the Prophet Muhammad, who brought us to Islam that rahmatan lil alamin. Ladies and gentlemen, the composition of the program this morning is as follows. First, opening. Second, listen to the song Indonesia Raya, Sang Surya, and Mas PPNI. Third, Kalam Ilahi reading. Fourth, speeches. Fifth, prayer. And sixth, closing. Entering the first event is opening. Let us open this event with a reading basmalah for Muslims, and please adjust to non-Muslim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The next program was listening to the song Indonesia Raya, Sang Surya, and Mars PPNI. Please attendees remain mute.
Ayo, usahakan. Bagus. Sudah full, Pak.
Enggak, di setting ini yang udah di setting zoomnya. Setting zoomnya belum setting dia. Nggak bagus. Dari settingnya dia di on. Tentang setting.
Kapan ya?
Di itu dia ada rumahnya bagus. Ini.
The next event is reading of the Kalam Ilahi. To Adi Sivananta, Bachelor of Nursing, is invited.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Tabarakalladzi biyadihil mulku wa huwa ala kulli syai'in qadir. Alladzi khalaqal mauta wal hayata liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala. Wa huwal azizul ghafur. Alladzi khalaqa sab'a samawatin tibaqa ma tara fi khalqir rahmani min tafawuq farji'il basara hal tara min futur. Shadaqallahul azim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you. Hopefully we all get intercessions from what was read. Amin ya rabbal alamin. The next event is speech. The first speech will be delivered by the chairman of the Commit International Online Nursing Conference 2020. To Raffi Mahendra, Bachelor of Nursing, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. The Honorable, the Chairman of Indonesia Ners Association Jember, Ners Haji Asrah Joyo Widono, Master of Science. The Honorable Dr. Hanafi, Master of Education as Director of University Muhammadiyah Jember. The Honorable Ners Sasmianto, Master of Health as Dean of Faculty Health Science, University of Muhammadiyah Jember. And all international online nursing conference participants. First, let me give thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who give us healthy time and chance to meet in the seminar with them, stimulating the immune system through complementary therapies based nursing practice in the new normal era. Before I say something on the seminar, the previous thanks to Master of Ceremony that has given to me a time to welcome us Chairman of the Committee. In this year, 2020, we know that the world fighting a virus called COVID-19. The way to fight the virus, it is by doing a new normal and increasing the body immunity. The way to increasing or stimulating immunity, we can use complementary therapy. That's why we pick this theme in this seminar. Let me tell you, if Indonesia have become, how about in the other country? So, ladies and gentlemen, we brought 4 speakers in this international online nursing conference from different countries. Indonesia, Japan, Philippines, Taiwan, and the seminar number of participants is 2,860, last update on 21 August. So that's all I can say. Hopefully this international online nursing conference can be useful for all of us. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Raffi Mahendra. The second speech will be delivered by the Chairman of the PPNI DPD Jember Regency, to Nurse Asrojoyo Widono, Bachelor of Nursing, Bachelor of Law, Master of Science. Time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, selamat pagi, salam sejahtera, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Yang saya hormati Rektor Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember, Bapak Dr. Hanafi, SPD MPD. Yang saya hormati Dekan Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan Unmu Jember, Sasmianto, SK MPes, para narasumber seminar internasional stimulating the immune system through complementary therapy-based nursing practice in the new era. Bapak Dr. Wahyudi Widada, Mr. Dr. L. Franz Sumail from Centro Escolar University Philippines, Ms. Dr. Akimi Karya from University of Osaka, Japan, Ms. Dr. Seichi from National Taipei University of Nursing and Health, Nurse Kinanjar Sasmita, MPhil, STKMB. Para peserta seminar internasional keperawatan di mana saja yang saat ini mengikuti kegiatan seminar internasional. Pertama, puji syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, Tuhan yang Maha Esa, yang telah melimpahkan rahmat dan hidayahnya kepada kita semua. Di saat bencana non alam melanda Ibu Pertiwi ini, Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember menyelenggarakan acara seminar internasional dengan tema yang sangat menarik untuk disimak dan dicermati, sekaligus dieksekusi di lapangan, dalam rangka penanganan COVID-19 yang melanda Ibu Pertiwi, Indonesia. Meskipun pelaksanaan seminar kali ini secara daring, dan alhamdulillah diikuti oleh ratusan peserta dari berbagai daerah di Indonesia. Untuk itu atas nama pengurus DPD PPNI Kabupaten Jember, kami mengucapkan selamat kepada Vikes Unmu atas kontribusi nyata pada organisasi perawat PPNI dalam memberikan sumbangsih pemikiran sehingga sedikit banyak bisa bermanfaat untuk diaplikasikan di masyarakat, khususnya di Kabupaten Jember. Sholawat serta salam kita aturkan kepada junjungan kita, Nabi Muhammad SAW, beserta keluarga dan para sahabat-sahabat beliau. Bapak Ibu beserta seminar yang berbahagia. Di tengah pandemi COVID-19 ini sungguh menjadi keharusan bagi kaum intelektual bidang kesehatan, khususnya keperawatan, untuk selalu belajar dan membuka mata, untuk senantiasa berbuat dan melakukan terobosan-terobosan dalam upaya pencegahan COVID-19. Karena perawat merupakan garda terdepan bersama tenaga kesehatan lainnya dalam penanganan COVID-19. Tidak sedikit korban sudah berjatuhan, baik itu yang menimpa masyarakat maupun tenaga kesehatan. Tercatat di Provinsi Jawa Timur, berdasarkan laporan gugus tugas DPW PPNI Jatim pertanggal 20 Agustus 2020, terdapat 774 perawat terkonfirm COVID-19 dan yang meninggal dunia 21 perawat. Semoga pejuang kesehatan tersebut ditempatkan terbaik di sisi Allah Subhanahu wa taala dan keluarga yang ditinggal diberi kesabaran yang sangat tinggi.
Amin.
Angka tersebut sungguh angka yang tidak sedikit yang terjadi di kelompok profesi. Oleh karena itu, seminar kali ini menjadi sangat penting untuk disimak karena kita pahami bersama, terapi khusus untuk virus COVID-19 belum ditemukan. Terapi komplementer merupakan terapi alternatif yang sangat disarankan dalam rangka meningkatkan imunitas tubuh penderita COVID-19 untuk mencapai kesembuhan. Oleh karena itu, harapan saya, semoga seminar kali ini menjadi tonggak dalam rangka menurunkan angka mortalitas COVID-19 di Indonesia, khususnya di Kabupaten Jember. Untuk itu kami berpesan kepada saudara-saudara peserta seminar, update keilmuan saudara, khususnya penanganan COVID-19 terbaru dengan berbagai cara. PPNI hampir setiap hari menyelenggarakan seminar secara daring agar saudara tidak ketinggalan ilmunya. Selalu berkomunikasi dengan sejawat lainnya karena perawat tidak bisa bekerja secara sendiri. Perawat membutuhkan kolaborasi dengan tenaga kesehatan yang lain. Pastikan kondisi bugar jika saudara melakukan pelayanan di fasilitas pelayanan kesehatan dimanapun berada. Gunakan alat pelindung diri sesuai standar operating procedure, karena sejatinya disinilah pencegahan yang utama dalam pandemi COVID-19. Berpikir positif, karena berpikir positif akan meningkatkan imunitas tubuh kita. Sekali lagi kami ucapkan selamat, semoga ilmu yang kita dapat hari ini melalui seminar internasional keperawatan ini bisa bermanfaat untuk semuanya. Sebaik-baik manusia adalah bermanfaat untuk sesama. Terima kasih. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Mr. Asro Joyo. The third speech will be delivered by the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, University of Muhammadiyah Jember. To Ners Sasmianto, Master of Health, time is yours.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wa bihi nasta'in umuri dunya waddin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah wa sadana Muhammad Rasulullah. Raditu billahi robba wa bil islami dinah wa bi Muhammadin nabiyya wa rasulullah. Rabbi zidni ilma warzuqni fahma. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All praise is due to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, the Lord of universe, for enabling us to meet together here, even touched by virtual meeting. Peace and shalom be upon to glorious Prophet of Islam, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who has brought us from the darkness to Islam rahmatan lil alamin. The Honorable Director of University of Muhammadiyah Jember, Vice Rector for the Academic Affairs, Dr. Amy Khalifa, Master of Science, the Honorable Chairman of Indonesia Nurse Association, Jember, Nurse Asraf Jaya Widono, Master of Science. All of speakers from of Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember, University of Hiroshima, Japan, Centro Escolar University, the Philippines, National Taipei University of Nursing and Health Science, Taiwan Distinguished Participate and Colleagues. On behalf of the organizing committee of the International Online Nursing, entitled Stimulating the Immune System Through Complementary Therapy-Based Nursing Practice in the New Era. I would like to warmly welcome to all of you who have joined us for this online meeting, especially to all of speakers. The success of meeting depends on your active contribution, and we believe it ought to facilitate and free and fruitful exchange of ideas. I would also like then and congratulate to all of the organizing committees who have been able to present great speakers today. I believe all of your heart will be paid off. In the end, thank you and wabillahi taufiq walhidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Sasmianto. The first speech will be delivered by the Rector of the University of Muhammadiyah Jember, as well as opening the event, which will be represented by the Vice Rector 1 of the University of Muhammadiyah Jember. To Dr. Amy Khalifa, Master of Science, time is yours.
Sudah? Oke, thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Dean of the Faculty of Health Science, Mr. Sasmianto, SKP, then the Honorable Dr. Wahyudi Widada, and then Head of PPNI, Mr. Asra. I'm sorry if I'm false, Mr. Asra, yeah. And then Mr. Air Francis R. Sumail, RBSD, Centro Escolar University, ICEU, and then Dr. Akemi Arya, Prefectural University of Hiroshima, and then Mr. of Mrs. Yeah, Tisai Chifai Tiffany Wang, PhD, and then Nada Azhar Prandini, Askap, Dwi Rizky Novitasari, and all of the committee of this conference. Thank you for me. All of you give the time for me. Actually, our rector, Mr. Hanafi, want to speak by himself to open this conference. But Mr. Hanafi talked to me that he has um, what is it, a conference to open the conference. So Mr. Hanafi want me to open this seminar. I think I want to read the opening speech of the Mr. Hanafi. Just only read, but not too much about the open speech. Mr. Hanafi have the statement that the medical treatment has not been able to make a virus COVID-19. That the message, the main message of the Mr. Hanafi that the medical treatment has not been able to make a virus COVID-19. That's a good statement. I think that this is what is it, the main idea for this conference. I think that is relating to today is a fun day because we can join this international conference to discuss this body immunity. I think the body immunity is very important for us. And then the second idea is immune is a very important thing in life. If immunity decrease, then it means a threat. It is a threat to us. And then what about the curing condition, where the world situation has been dominated by the issue of vulnerable immunity because it is a threat by COVID-19 virus. The COVID-19 virus can attack human and even animals. I think all of us know that this virus can attack the animals too, and it is state that no medicine can cure it. And then because that this condition makes understanding that mainstream medical, I think mainstream treatment has not been able to make a COVID-19 virus vaccine that caused many victims. So Mr. Asra just now talked to us that many nurses become victim. This caused public panic. I think all of us come to the panic situation, and then the second statement of our rectors, the role of the nurses. I mean some any situation of panic, any important role of the nurses. Nah, in the end, we realized the great challenge of caring of life. I think, beside many I mean the people come to panic. So any important role of the nurses. That is mean. So there are always effort to find alternative to survive through maintaining immunity. Perhaps in here, the role of nurses is important. It's important to educate the sick or to or public or the sick or public to live a healthy lifestyle. I think all of nurses here knew about that. On the other hand, nurses can also increase the use of alternative medicine based on local wisdom. Yeah, all of us here know that the local wisdom is not so popular, if we compare with the medicine, yeah, what is it, the modern medicine, I mean, it's not so popular. Yeah, maybe Mr. Wahyudi Widada maybe have many experience about the local wisdom medicine. I think from the what is it, become medicine. Yeah, I think if I can say like that. So and then we all know that alternative medicine is being defeated by the image of the modern medicine. In fact, one and the other can be complementary. So the what is it, the message of our rector. Uh, and then Rector, Mr. Hanafi, want to me. I think Mr. Hanafi want me to open this conference. So with saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, the international conference be opened. Okay, I think I appreciate to all of us here to join to this conference. That's all. I think I want to say good of this international conference. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Miss Amy Khalifa. The next event is reading a prayer. To those in charge are welcome.
Thank you for the chance given to me. Let's pray together based on our belief. Bagi yang beragama selain Islam, kami persilakan untuk berdoa sesuai dengan kepercayaan masing-masing. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hamdan syakirin, hamdan na'imin, hamdan yafi ni'amahu wa yukafi mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhikal karim wa 'azimi sultanik. Ya Rabbana wa lakal hamdu wa lakal syukru Allahumma sholli ala Muhammadin fil awalina wal akhirin. Allahumma ya Allah ya Tuhan kami, dengan mengucapkan puji syukur kehadiratmu atas segala rahmat karuniamu yang telah engkau limpahkan kepada kami pada hari ini dengan penuh keakraban dan kebahagiaan ini. Kami hadir di sini, kiranya engkau memberikan barokah dan ridhamu dalam acara yang kami laksanakan ini. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, seminar ini sangat besar sekali arti dan maknanya bagi kami, terutama menjalin hubungan silaturahim antar perawat seluruh Indonesia, sekaligus meningkatkan kompetensi kami di bidang ini. Untuk itu, ya Allah, tanamkan sifat Rahman dan Rahim-Mu kepada kami sekalian, sehingga dapat berkiprah dalam pembangunan kesehatan. Allahumma ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, dengan telah berakhirnya kegiatan ini kiranya ya Allah, Engkau dapat melimpahkan pengetahuan dan kekuatan kepada kami semua, dan Engkau tumbuhkan rasa persaudaraan, persatuan yang kokoh di antara kami terjalin dengan baik dan utuh. Ya Allah, Tuhan kami, Engkaulah Sang Maha Pengampun. Ampunilah dosa dan kesalahan kami, dosa pemimpin kami, serta dosa dan kesalahan kedua orang tua kami. Perkenankanlah doa dan pinta kami ini. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adzabannar. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you. This is the opening ceremony. I hand over the moderator to guide the next event. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have entered the core event, namely the international seminar with the theme Stimulating the Immune System Through Complementary Therapies-Based Nursing Practice in the New Normal Era, which will be led directly by the moderator. Before we start our core event, we will read the moderator's curriculum vitae. This is the moderators. Full name, Dwi Rizky Novitasari, Bachelor of Nursing. Date of birthplace, Wonosobo, 23 November 1997. From Indonesia, East Java Province, Jember District. Education, undergraduate of nursing from University of Muhammadiyah Jember. Nurse Professional Program from University of Muhammadiyah Jember. Organizations, the Chairman, the General of the Indonesian Red Cross at University of Muhammadiyah Jember. I ask the Master of Ceremony, apologize if there are things that are not pleasing. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to the Master of Ceremony. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Hopefully we always in a good condition, so we could do the activity well. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to extend a very warm to all of you. It's being great honor for me to be here and welcome each and every one of you. My name's Dwi Rizky Novitasari, Bachelor of Nursing, and today I would be the moderator. Okay, now let's move to the next session, which is the core of the event. In this session, all the speakers will deliver the material. There will also be a question and answer session later. Next, I want to greet the audience and the speaker first. Welcome to our program in this morning. We have a speaker. The speaker from 4 countries. The countries is Indonesia, the Philippines, Japan, and Taiwan. Now, the speaker was joined with us is Dr. Wahyudi Widada, Master of Medicines, and Ms. Nada Azhar Prandini, Bachelor of Nursing. Next, Mr. R. Francis R. Sumile from Philippines, and Ms. Tiffany Wang, Doctor of Philosophy, registered nurse, and Dr. Akemi Karya from Japan. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, in this special occasion, we will discuss about stimulating the immune system through complementary therapies-based nursing practice in the new normal era. Of course, everyone needs to information as an attempt to equalize the participant as we all expect from this international seminar. I will give a little introduction related to the material that will be delivered by the speaker. Basically, scientific forums like this are very important and interesting for us. Hopefully, it is expected that all of us can pay attention and follow this discussion well. Before the speaker deliver the material, I will read some of provisions of our main agenda as follows. First, the time of speaker deliver the material is 20 minutes. Second, the participant may not give any interruption when the speaker deliver the material. Third, after all speaker deliver the material, a question and answer session will be opened. Four, question and answer will be divided into 2 sessions. Each session with 2 questions. Question can be sent through a chat Zoom or a YouTube commentary column with names, origin, and to whom your question will directed. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know today, Indonesia is certainly being invaded by the coronavirus. On the 11th of March 2020, World Health Organization announced that the release of the coronavirus was categorized as a global pandemic. Many efforts by society to prevent the spread of the virus are made by promoting the immune system. Now, complementary therapy is used to assess modern medicines in an effort to improve the immune system. For more details will be explained by the speaker. The first speaker is Dr. Wahyudi Widada, Master of Medicines. Assalamualaikum. Okay, are you ready to share your material? Okay, before delivering the material, I would like to read the curriculum vitae of Dr. Wahyudi Widodo, Master of Medicines. Full name, Dr. Wahyudi Widodo, Master of Medicines, origin Indonesia, East Java, Jember. Job title is Expert Assistant and Lecturer at the University of Muhammadiyah Jember. Date of birth, Jember, 16 December 1967. Last education is Doctor of Medicine in University of Airlangga, Surabaya. He is owner the Cupping Therapy Al-Kahil House and chairman of International Islamic Medicine Forum. His research was focused on cupping therapy. The Honorable Dr. Wahyudi Widada, Master of Medicine, with the material about cupping therapies as an alternative to treat cytokine storm in COVID-19 patient. Time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa syukurillah, wa la hawla wa la quwata illa billah. Innal hamdalillahil aliyyil adim, khalaqal insana fi ahsani taqwim, khalaqal mauta wal hayata liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala. To whom I respect Dr. Akemi Karya from Japan, Air Francis Air Sumile from Philippines, Ms. Stephanie Wang from Taipei University, Ms. Nada Ashar Prandini from Indonesia, and all participants of this 5 international seminar. How are you today? Feeling happy? Hopefully this event will run smoothly and successfully. I will explain my presentation first. The main problem in patients with cytokine storm is respiratory failure. I would like to explain that cupping can be both a prevention and a treatment in patients with cytokine storm problem. At this time, we know that our nation and the entire population of the world is suffering from a very serious problem that make parents feel sad, teachers are worried, and the government is confused. This problem is the COVID-19 pandemic. Almost every time we hear that our siblings have contracted the COVID-19 virus and then die. On this occasion, I would like to provide an overview of the effect of this virus in the pathobiological approach. And then I hope that this presentation can inspire the right solution. My title presentation is cupping therapy as an alternative to treat cytokine storm in COVID-19 patient. I am lecturer in University of Muhammadiyah Jember, and as chairman of International Islamic Medicine Forum or IIMF, and owner the host cupping of Al-Kahil Jember. My presentation include in introduction until conclusion in 5 subbab. I will explain first the principles of Islamic medicine. Number 1, be patient when you get a disaster. Please don't complain. We must be patient. And number 2, we have a lot to apologize to God. And number 3, believe in God's help. Leave your problem to God. And number 4, keep looking for the best solution to this problem. And number 5, consumption of immune boosting food. That is the conventional medicine or nursing in Indonesia. if we are honest, so far we have put too much emphasis on the physical aspect. I repeat, we have put too much emphasis on the physical aspect. When we pay attention to the spiritual aspect, he must be dominant. The spiritual aspect affect the psychic aspect and psychic aspect affect the physical. And the holistic treatment should be, number one, rely on healing from God. Number two, healing is not the main goal. It's important. Healing is not the main goal. And number three, spiritual education. And number four, repent first, medicine later. Goal of treatment. The main goal of treatment is the improvement of faith, worship, and morality. Healingness is a bonus given in the world today. It could be given in the afterlife. Maybe this is anti-mainstream. Okay, I will explain definition of cytokine storm. We know cytokine storm is common complication in COVID-19 patient. Excessive, uncontrolled cytokine release which then activated more immune cell, leading to hyperinflammation. Keyword the hyperinflammation. The mucus secretion fill the airway and cause respiratory failure. This is our main topic. Cytokine storm is hyperinflammation. When the COVID-19 virus enter the mucosa of the airway, immunomucosal mean well, that is to protect the body by multiplying cytokine. Cytokine are part of our immunity. Unfortunately, these cytokines cause excess mucus in the airways, respiratory tract. This is pathophysiology of SARS-CoV-2. I want to explain that interleukin 6 is very important. Coronavirus trigger interleukin 6. And then interleukin 6 trigger an inflammatory reaction in the airway. We need something that can suppress IL-6 activity. I repeat, we need something that can suppress interleukin 6 activity on airway respiratory tract. How the mechanism of cupping therapy can overcome airway cleaning on the COVID-19 patient. I suggest cupping therapy. There have been many studies that report cupping is an immunomodulator. Cupping therapy is an immunomodulator. When the immune system is low, cupping increases immunity. When the immune system is too light, cupping will normalize. It's amazing therapy. Cupping in certain area, cupping in certain area will improve the function of organ nerve. Effect in the airway, cell signaling on respiratory tract, which will relieve the cytokine storm. On early stage, cupping increase immunity, which effectively prevent the development of the virus. Stage of infection, cupping relieve inflammation so that the immunomucosal doesn't produce excessive cytokines. And stage 3, cupping cause keratinocyte to express hypoxia inducible factor to express the inflammation cell. Inflammation cell to express interleukin 1, interleukin 6, interleukin 10, and tumor necrosis factor. And all may be monocytosis. When the monocyte increase to be monocytosis, interleukin 6 will differentiate monocyte to be macrophage. And macrophage will phagocyte virus and cytokines, and the end process, inflammation subsides. It's important thing to understand. Our focus is on human, not viruses. Our focus is on human, not viruses. How to activate this immunity against virus? Don't be tired of thinking about drug, disinfectant, virus mutation, etc. Just focus on the abilities of our body. How to determine point of cupping? I suggest to 7 points on the back our body. Number 1, ada iron point on the second cervical. Kahil point on the first thoracal. Cativine point on the mid scapula. Varic point on the second lumbal. This is a proper point. We know that patients with COVID-19, they have a problem on respiratory tract. Mechanism of wet cupping therapy, like that. Wet cupping therapy make hypoxia condition, and hypoxia will be inflammatory cell active, and inflammatory active will express macrophage, EL1, EL6, EL10, and they will phagocyte the virus and free radical. In other pathway, wet cupping therapy remove metabolism waste, remove oxidant, and it's made health our body. I have some theory for number 1, signaling cell theory. When the cupping in a special meridian point, it make inflammation cell stimulation. and will be message sent to the target cell organ. And it's make cell communication between cell to improve or reduce, and it make new balance or homeostasis.
Sorry, Dr. Wahyudi Widodo, the time is less than 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. This is the monocyte to differentiate to macrophage. And this is Dimit cell theory. This is, for example, healthcare worker uniform in COVID-19 pandemic era. And the reason, why the reason for cupping? Number one, cupping is increase new immunity. And number two, cupping remove excessive cytokine particles. And cytokine balance in the airway, and so make return to homeostasis. And number three, cupping remove waste metabolism. Our conclusion is number one, cupping increase immunity, which effectively prevent the development of the virus. And number two, cupping relieve inflammation so that immunomucosal doesn't produce excessive cytokine. And number three, cupping can be an alternative therapy on patient with exposed to COVID-19. Alhamdulillah. Thank you to moderator.
Thank you to Dr. Wahyudi Widodo, Master of Medicine, for the material. Its material so interesting, and its material is new inspiration for the complementary nurse for the treatment to COVID-19 patient. Okay, if the participant have a question for the first speaker, can raise hand when the speaker in a Zoom, and can write the question and YouTube commentary column. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is from the first speaker, and next. I would like to invite to our second speaker, that's Mr. R. Francis R. Sumile, Doctor of Philosophy, registered nurse from Philippines. Hello, Mr. R. Francis. Good morning, Mr. R. Francis. Are you ready to share your material?
Good morning.
Okay, the PowerPoint material will share by you or by us.
Oh, I'm now screen sharing.
Okay. Before the delivery material, I will to read the curriculum vitae of Mr. R. Francis R. Sumile, Doctor of Philosophy, registered nurse. Full name, Full name, R. Francis R. Sumile, Doctor of Philosophy, registered nurse. From North Medicine Place, Tikay, Malala City, 3000, Philippines. The last education is Doctor of Philosophy, Nursing, University of the Philippines, Manila. Teaching experience. Now he is professional lecturer in Central Escolar University, Manila. The program of research is health promotion, primary health care, health equality, chronic life disease, health system, and community empowerment. To the Honorable Dr. Francis R. Sumile, Doctor of Philosophy, registered nurse from Philippines, with the material about how to maintain the immunity of health workers in the COVID-19 pandemic era. To Mr. R. Francis R. Sumile, Doctor of Philosophy, registered nurse, time is yours.
Okay, thank you so much to our moderator. Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum. I would like to greet everybody from the Philippines, and we are honored to be part of this International Online Nursing Conference. So I wish to thank the organizers for this invitation to contribute to the objectives of this conference. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank Dean Urgel of Centro Escolar University for this opportunity. So my topic this morning is to talk about how to maintain the immune system to boost the immunity of our health workers during this time of pandemic era. So I would like to introduce myself by starting off with sharing to everybody that my practice over the last 16 years as an academic is in public health. So over the last years, I've been working with different local government units here in our country to help deliver healthcare to population. And we know very well that in public health, our core value is collaboration. We believe that everybody can contribute in providing healthcare and ensuring health for all people. The objectives of our session is that we hope that in the next 20 minutes, we can, number one, revisit concepts on the biology of COVID-19. And I am very happy that Dr. Widada has already highlighted earlier some of the biology behind the pathogenesis of COVID-19 infection. Is the audio okay? Can I be heard? What else? Our objectives also include, I'll be sharing with you our context here in our country, in the Philippines, what's currently going on, how many of our health workers are infected. Hopefully, I get also to share with everybody in a nutshell, why is there a need to ensure that our health workers are free from COVID-19 infection, and highlight also what are the different ways in which we can boost the immune response, the immune system of our health workers during this time of the pandemic, so that at the end we can determine areas for collaboration as a member of a global community. I think some of our participants are raising their hands. Maybe the moderator can assist. Can I also ask if I can be heard? Is the audio clear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So hopefully in the next 20 minutes, we can cover all of this. Okay, so allow me to start by revisiting again the biology of COVID-19 infection. Now, going through some of the articles published over the last few months, it was already highlighted, that COVID-19 infection is attributed obviously to SARS-CoV-2, which is a member of the coronavirus family. And the first pandemic associated with this group of viruses occurred in 2001, 2002, and we know that very well as SARS, and that's due to SARS-CoV-1, which typically shows signs and symptoms of respiratory difficulty among infected patients. Now, further, it was highlighted in these articles, and this is already established by the World Health Organization, that SARS-CoV-2, which is the causative agent of COVID-19 is possibly zoonotic in origin. And when we say it's zoonotic in origin, it can be attributed to an infection that started off with animals, okay, and from animals it can be transmitted to humans. And based on Huang in 2020 in their article, they highlighted that it started off, cases were first isolated in Wuhan in China from a wet market, and they have already noted that as late as December of 2019, there were already clusters of people who are showing signs of respiratory difficulty, and they're suspecting again that this is attributed to COVID-19. And the mode of transmission of the virus is obviously through respiratory droplet. And there are also studies that highlighted it can also be transmitted through fomites, meaning through the use of inanimate objects. Now, given again the nature of the virus and how it's transmitted. Earlier, our first speaker showed that the impact of the virus as it enters the body is that it brings about an immune response. So just like any infection, we know very well that antigens like SARS-CoV-2, as it enters the body, will elicit an immune response. And one of the major immunomodulating agents is obviously cytokines. And our first speaker earlier highlighted that the effect of COVID-19 infection due to SARS-CoV-2 is to bring about what we call what we call cytokine storm, and it was explained in detail earlier, and I'm glad. So it's going to be easier for us to go through the next again slides. With cytokine storm, there is what we call hyperinflammation, and this results to overproduction of secretions that clogs the airway, making it difficult for oxygen to be delivered to our tissues, causing a drop in the levels of oxygen. And the result, according to studies that were published, indicates that it brings about severe drop in the oxygen levels in the body. And eventually, because of the hyperinflammation brought about by the cytokine storm, there is resulting multi-organ dysfunction and multi-organ failure that contributes to the mortality of patients from the disease. Now, again, on the screen, I am sharing to everybody that, and below the screen, I highlighted the source of this image from the same article. Okay, I'm sharing to everybody about the pathogenesis of the disease. Although in this article, they mentioned that although it's too early because the disease itself, its pathogenesis is evolving. No? So what we know right now may probably change in the course of the next few months because we're still investigating the behavior of the virus. But as of now, okay, researchers have identified that once the virus enters the body, it activates an immune response that brings about hyperinflammation secondary to cytokine storm. And the result is increased mucus production that will clog the airway of the patient, making breathing difficult. And it may result to obviously acute respiratory distress syndrome. And then it also brings about multi-organ failure, and that contributes to a high mortality to patients with comorbidity. And we know very well that comorbidity refers to conditions in which patients may have other diseases, like they have diabetes, they have hypertension. So that brings about a more complicated state. So understanding that COVID-19 infection triggers an immune response, which results to a cytokine storm, then it means to say that what we can do on the curative aspect is to use the immune system to fight this infection. And as far as experts are concerned, they have already discovered that there is some considerable benefit of using what we call plasma therapy. I'm sure everyone have heard of what we call convalescent plasma therapy, in which patients who have recovered from COVID-19, when they donate their blood, their blood, by the way, is processed in the laboratory, and then this blood that was taken from the donor who have recovered has antibodies that can be transfused to severely affected COVID-19 patients. So So to those critically ill patients who have received convalescent plasma, there is marked improvement. And so it highlights again that the immune system is working, provided that these antibodies were taken at a specific point in time. Likewise, I'm sure everyone is aware that globally we are on a race in developing a vaccine that will boost the immune system so that we get to halt the spread of the infection. So that hopefully in the next few months, in the near future, we can go back to normalcy. And again, vaccine development is anchored on understanding the dynamics of our immune response and the immune system. So, given all of this scientific information about the link between SARS-CoV-2, which is the causative agent of COVID-19 infection, and the immune system, it's clear, the link is clear that, okay, COVID-19 will definitely, okay, attack the immune system. And the immune system tries to respond by compensating, but according to evidence, the compensation actually is too much. Okay, that's why it results to more harm because it results to a hyper-inflammatory state. So what can we do is that as of the moment, the limitation is the cure is definitely elusive. So what we can do as nurses is to affirm our commitment that in the dimensions of nursing care, we have promotive, we have preventive, we have curative, and rehabilitative. So what we can do right now is focus on the areas of promotion and prevention. So when we talk about promotion and prevention, then we have to look into boosting our immune system so that we reduce our probability, we reduce our vulnerability to the infection of COVID-19. And how can we do this? The member of a global community from the ASEAN, of course, as one ASEAN community, as neighbors. Okay, we know very well that the problem is uh, accelerating, particularly in our context. And what we need right now is, to share information, okay, so that we can find areas, okay, for collaboration to solve, okay, this problem. So allow me to share with you what's going on in our country right now. Now, as of the latest statistics coming from our Philippine Department of Health, it was published last August 3. Okay, that health workers are currently one of the leading victims of COVID-19 infection. Now, on hindsight, let me just share with you that what have we done so far? Okay, is that last March, okay, our country has declared a state of public health emergency. Side by side with the WHO or the World Health Organization already recognizing that COVID-19 is already a global pandemic. So we started already implementing measures like quarantine, and probably we have the longest quarantine because as of the moment, we are still implementing quarantine measures. Okay, follow again the science that limiting movement of people is a key step in preventing the spread of disease, because with movement of people comes movement of disease or spread of disease. So we're still on quarantine right now. Okay, however, okay, in spite of our implementation of quarantine measures, it seems that we're lacking. Okay, it's because the rate of infection and the number of people infected with COVID-19 are exponentially increasing in our country. And this is shown on the graph. So we have not definitely flattened the curve. So there is really a need for collaboration, okay, in our own country so that we can help control, okay, the impact of the disease. Now, as early as April, I'll share with you a screenshot of news circulating in the Philippines that the WHO has already recognized the alarming number of health workers here in the Philippines getting infected with COVID-19. It's because regionally here in ASEAN, okay, the rate of infection of health workers are pegged at 2.3%. But in the Philippines, we have an alarming rate of 13% infection rate among our health workers, those who are medical frontliners attending to patients with COVID-19. So, I just mentioned earlier that as of August 3, okay, it was already uh, made known to the public that there is still a very high number of infection, okay, among our health workers. And what is more alarming is that, okay, of those 5,000 medical frontliners in our country who were infected with COVID-19, associated with their line of duty, associated with their work, okay, the biggest share, unfortunately, has impacted nurses. So take note that out of the 5,000 cases as of August, as of this month, okay, 1,734, okay, of these health workers are actually nurses. And what factors, okay, are related to this very high infection rate of COVID-19 among our nurses is that, number one, the need for personal protective equipment. I don't know if this is common among our neighbors in the Asian community, but here in the Philippines, there is still some problem with the sufficient number, okay, of personal protective equipment. That's why some of our health workers, particularly to smaller hospitals that have very limited logistics, they have limited resources. Some of them resource to alternative personal protective equipment that is not a standard protection. So the likelihood of getting infected is there. What else? The staffing pattern is also a problem. It's because although we have an adequate number of nurses, we have a very high attrition rate because there are a lot of nurses, okay, and even physicians who are resigning from their jobs. And this is brought about by the poor working conditions that we have for health workers. Working hours is also a problem with the limited staff. Okay, with the limited number of available manpower, most of our nurses are forced to go beyond a 12-hour per shift duty, and with more than 12 hours because the recommendation by most literature in evidence, they recommend 6 hours or less, okay, of working hours for nurses. But with the limited number, our nurses are forced to go beyond 12 hours. So the longer they stay, okay, dealing with patients with COVID-19, the greater their likelihood of succumbing, or the greater the likelihood of them acquiring the infection. And last would be the poor working conditions, the logistics, which is a system-wide problem in our country. It's because of the poor working conditions, the lack of hazard pay, okay, the lack of benefits that's discouraging most of the workforce, and that causes undue stress, okay, on those who are currently working. So obviously, yes.
Mr. R, the time less than 5 minutes.
So with all of these, okay, it boils down to stress. So stress from both internal, okay, and external factors. And we know very well the neuroendocrine response of stress is that hormones will flood our system, and the effect of cortisol definitely takes its toll on the immune system. Um, it will reduce, okay, our adaptive response and our innate, okay, immune response. So what is now the problem? The risk for getting infected is high. So what we can do, okay, is definitely ways to improve, okay, our immune system. How do we boost the immune system of health workers? Is definitely self-care. And there are several evidences that highlight how, apart from adequate rest, proper nutrition is necessary. And when we say adequate rest, okay, proper nutrition, that's part of a healthy lifestyle. So we encourage, okay, our workers, our health workers, to go for adequate rest, go for regular exercise 3 times a week. And there are, by the way, several articles as early as 2001 that highlights, okay, the need for adequate nutrition, particularly zinc supplements, vitamin D, okay, is important. With regards to exercise, regular exercise is essential, and this has already been highlighted by this article last 2019. Okay, to make use of complementary approaches like the use of meditation. Okay, complementary like exercise, combining meditation like yoga, tai chi. There are already evidences, okay, that this link to boost the immune system of our health workers, and this will reduce their likelihood, okay, of infected with COVID-19. So again, what is important is that our takeaway is that we combine different measures to help improve our immune response. But before I end, it's not only personal ways to improve our immune system so that we reduce our likelihood of infection. It is also important that there must be an organizational effort to reduce stress of health workers, and that is we need to work together in lobbying governments, other healthcare organizations, to ensure better working conditions, better pay for our nurses, so that when we reduce their stress, then they have better immune response. So to end, I would like to call on everybody to join me in exploring areas that we can collaborate, so that we can work together in advocating for better working conditions for health workers, especially for nurses, so that we reduce the stress and therefore boost their immune response. So with that, thank you very much for this opportunity to share.
Thank you to Mr. R. Francis R. Sumile, Doctor of Philosophy, registered nurse, for conveying material things in a wonderful way. The material is very interesting for us as worker health and professional nurse to always maintain our immune system. And next, I would like to invite to our third speaker. The third speaker is Dr. Akemi Karya from Japan. Good morning.
Good morning.
Akemi Karya.
Yes.
How are you?
Good morning.
Okay, are you ready to share the material?
Okay. My name is Kim Karia. Now, my specialties are gerontology, palliative care, and the evaluation of health and social security system. Now,
okay, for the PowerPoint material, share by you or by us? Hello, Dr. Akemi Karya.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. For PowerPoint material, share by you or by us?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. For the PowerPoint material, share by you or by us?
We are sharing by ourselves.
Okay. Before the delivery material, I would like to read the curriculum vitae of Dr. Akemi Karya from Japan. Full name, Dr. Akemi Karya, Institute, Faculty, Department of Nursing, job title, Associate Professor. Research keyword is extended healthy life, gerontology, regional activation, medical ethics, palliative care, and geriatric nursing. Research area is life science or gerontological and community health nursing. Now she is prefectural in University of Hiroshima Faculty of Health and Welfare. The Honorable Dr. Akemi Karya from Japan, time is yours.
Okay. Thank you. I'm Akemi Karya. Today, palliative care in the COVID-19 pandemic. As you know, this is the definition of WHO. The important thing is the QOL of patients and their families who are facing problems related to life-threatening disease. What has changed in palliative care with the COVID-19 pandemic in Japan? The important thing is what I'm going to say, symptom management, and take care of their mental health care at the same time. We aim to improve the QOL. This is where we can point out the importance of CAM therapy. What is CAM? In the world, there are 240 complementary and alternative therapies in the world. Example, acupuncture, yoga, mindfulness, touch care, foot massage, aromatherapy, color therapy. We know that CAM is effective for improving immunity. In the world, what will change in the COVID-19 pandemic era? Cannot provide direct touch care to patients. Psychological care is important for the patient, family, and health workers. When you can't get close, how to utility ICT? This foot is telemedicine, telenursing, and online visit. First, we would like to talk about how the COVID-19 changed in Japan healthcare system. We will contact the health center in your area of residence by phone. We can make an appointment to access the exam and find out if you have the COVID-19. If the patient is hospitalized, their family cannot meet the patient. They will be able to talk to the patient via mobile phone or PC. Some family members are able to see the patient on their mobile phone just before they die. The family care after bereavement, grief care. It would take one day to talk about context and how to do with grief care. Today, it seems the grief care is forgotten and not practiced. In this page, I would like to talk about grief care. The impact of the infection pandemic on society incalculable. Economic loss, unemployment, domestic violence, and the sense of discrimination have been widespread.
Sorry, Dr. Akemi, can you show your PowerPoint material? You can press F5 in your keyboard.
Family and patients hide the fact that they are sick, hide the fact. After patient passed away, the bodies and wrap in zippers and not allowed to touch them to prevent contamination. This is often no funeral ceremony, and they are directly buried. Experiencing the death of a socially excluded patient, the family feels a complex and prolonged grief process, which can lead to depression and other physical illness and suicide. In addition, long hours of stressful work require mental health care for medical staff, health workers. How to assessment the grief of family and healthcare providers, healthcare workers. There is a need to education of sufficient palliative care skills. Finished.
Thank you to the Dr. Akemi Karya from Japan for conveying material things in a wonderful way. I will reminder all participants, if have some question, you can raise hand in Zoom or write the question in YouTube column commenter. Next, I would like to invite fourth speaker from Indonesia. The fourth speaker is Miss Nada Ashar Prandini, Bachelor of Nursing. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Are you ready to share your material?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Before deliver the material, I would like to read your curriculum vitae. Full name, Nada Ashar Prandini, Bachelor of Nursing. Job title is college student. Origin from Indonesia is Java, Jember district. Unmarried status. The last education now, she is a student in University of Muhammadiyah Jember. Language ability is active Indonesian and basic English. To Miss Nada Ashar Prandini, Bachelor of Nursing, with the material about comparative study about nursing documentation to the patient with COVID-19 and lung tuberculosis. Time is yours.
Thank you, moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to present about the comparative study about nursing documentation to the patient with COVID-19 and pulmonary tuberculosis. Okay, what is the content of this material? The first, I want to discuss about the epidemiology of COVID-19 and TB, and then number mortality of COVID and TB. Next, the comparative of TB and COVID-19. Next, the similarity of COVID-19 and TB, and then pathophysiology of COVID-19. And the last is nursing process with patient with TB and COVID-19. Next. We will show in the slide. This is TB epidemiology. We know that TB is the disease that occurs by Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and this disease can infected by everyone in the world. At the slide, we can see that Asia and Africa are the world's greatest number of TB sufferers. For example, the first example, in Indonesia, the number of TB sufferers in Indonesia reached 300 until 499 out of 100,000. And the second example is at the South Africa. The number of TB sufferers in South Africa reached more than 500 of the 100,000. And the next, this is a COVID-19 epidemiology. COVID-19 is the disease that occurred by virus SARS-CoV-2. And this disease became a pandemic disease in the world. The first, we can see that as 225,076 cases are confirmed at the August 10, 20 and 20. And until August 10, 20 and 20, more than 19 million people are confirmed by COVID-19. And the next picture, we can see that number of mortality of COVID-19 until August 10, 20 and 20. As 5,151 people with COVID-19 are dead at August 10, 20 and 20. And until August 10, 20 and 20, more than 700,000 people are died because the COVID-19. Okay, this is a mortality number of COVID-19 and TB. This picture, we can see that this is death per day worldwide. In this slide, TB is still mortality number in the world. The birth rate of the COVID-19 is reached 66 people per day. But in TB, we can see that the mortality number is 3,014 per day. And then we can see the between the COVID-19, MERS, and SARS, three of diseases occur by same coronavirus, but the number mortality of SARS and MERS more than low than COVID-19. In the picture, we can see that SARS, the number mortality of SARS is 3.2, and the MERS is 2.3. Yes, this is a comparative of COVID-19 and TB. In Indonesia, we know, but in another people, everyone in here know that the tuberculosis is occurred by the bacteria. The name is the bacteria is Bacillus microbacterium tuberculosis. But the COVID-19 occurred by SARS-CoV-2. This is a virus. And then the point two is onset. The onset of tuberculosis is more than 14 days, but the COVID-19 is under 14 days. The range of the symptom of COVID-19 is 7 until 14 days. And then the third point is infect organ. Tuberculosis occur in the lungs, meninges, bone, and etc. But in COVID-19, this disease enter into only in respiratory system, especially the lungs. And the basic of treatment, it is very different for tuberculosis and COVID-19. Tuberculosis, the basic treatment of tuberculosis is bactericidal and bacteriostatic. Bactericidal is the substance which kills the bacteria, but the bacteriostatic is biological or chemical agent that stops bacteria from reproducing. This is a similarity between TB and COVID-19. We know that between COVID-19 and TB have a same symptom like fever and then cough and then it's new. But this point I want to present about the similarity about TB and COVID-19. The first is droplet transmission. The same transmission is droplet transmission. And the second is net contact investigation and outbreak investigation, identify hotspot. And the last, including patient triage based on respiratory system. This is because the patient with COVID-19 and TB have some symptom like a fever, cough, and dyspnea. This is we know that COVID-19 can occur with everyone, but everyone with have a comorbid disease can occur the high rise for this disease. The first comorbid of COVID-19 is the first is cardiovascular disease. For example, is heart failure, and then ancestrally. And the second is chronic lung disease, like tuberculosis. Pulmonary tuberculosis and lung cancer. And the last, people with diabetes can have a high risk to be occur by COVID-19. And the last is renal disease, like chronic kidney disease. And this is a pathophysiology. If we talk about the correlative of TB and COVID-19, the basic pathophysiological of COVID-19 and pulmonary tuberculosis is if the people have inadequate immune. The disease can enter into the body, and then the body can produce the inflammatory agent. But if the people have the adequate immune, the disease cannot enter in the body. It's because microorganisms are completely pathogenous by macrophages. And this picture, you can see that if the body have an inadequate body response, it will be a replication of microorganism by macrophages, and then the body can release of inflammatory mediators, and finally the tissue are damaged for this virus and tuberculosis. And then when the body have an adequate body response, the microorganisms are completely pathogens by macrophages. This is a management of COVID-19 and TB in Indonesia. The first, when under examination suspect of COVID-19 and forced to become new TB patient, the suspect carry out in the hospital in suspect management COVID-19. And then, if the suspect is COVID-19, then it must be isolation yourself 14 days while waiting for the result of the COVID-19 swab. The diagnostic examination, the name is PCR. And then, the point 3, for TB patient who become COVID-19 suspect, the therapy is continue at the local hospital. Suspect COVID-19 being treated. Okay, this is a nursing process. We know that nursing process have a 5 point for this. The first point is assessment, and then diagnosis, and then intervention, implementation, and the last is nursing evaluation. Like TB and COVID-19 is the same point of nursing process. This is a nursing assessment between TB and COVID-19. The first, in TB, I want to talk about the TB. TB, the onset of the TB is more than 14 days. This onset is the symptomatic like cough, dyspnea, and the fever. But in TB patient, the fever is under 38 Celsius degree. And then we want to contact with another patient with TB. This is a history of heart. And then physical assessment like weight loss, dyspnea, and hemoptysis. And the last, we can also the diagnosis examination like X-ray, TST, tuberculin skin test, and sputum smear. In sputum smear in Indonesia is we know that TCM or test cepat molekuler. In the COVID-19, the onset under 14 days. And then history is, we can see the history of patient. It is contact with another patient with COVID-19. And the people mobilization for pandemic era. And then physical assessment like dyspnea, coach fever more than 38 Celsius degree. And the COVID-19 can diagnostic by diagnostic examination on PCR. This is a nursing diagnosis between TB and COVID-19. In this slide, I want to present the TB patient have a three priority of problem in nursing diagnosis. The first is ineffective airway clearance. The second in ineffective breathing pattern. And the last in imbalanced nutrition less than body requirement. But in COVID-19, we have the 6 priority problem. The first is impaired gas exchange, and then ineffective breathing pattern. A third, ineffective airway clearance. The fourth, risk of shock, because this patient with COVID-19 can occur by complication like shock septic, and then anxiety, and then self-care deficit. This is intervention and implementation of patient with TB. First, if because the patient with TB have a mucus in airway, we want to be perform chest psychotherapy, like effective coach, clapping, and vibration. I'm sorry. And then position the semi-folder revisits the dyspnea. And then because this patient with TB have a lot waste, we can fulfill nutrition needs according the patient calorie needs. And then monitoring and evaluation, we must do monitoring the sputum color, respiratory rate, RR, or weight loss. And then we must do give education for patient and for the family. This is a TB transmission and management of medication. And then the last point is collaboration therapy regimen. Okay, this is an intervention and implementation for COVID-19. The first, self-isolation. Place the patient in isolation room. The self-isolation can do the patient with COVID-19 is not have a symptom. But if the patient have a treatment in the hospital, patient place, the place of the patient is in isolation room. And then the semi-polar position, if the patient is dyspnea, but we can have do the patient with prone position 12 and until 16 hours per day if the patient have a condition is ERDS or acute respiratory distress syndrome. This prone position can do by patient with COVID-19 if the patient have the complication ERDS. This position may promote pulmonary secretion drainage in patient. The third, understand the patient situation. It's because the patient with COVID-19 have anxiety problem. And then listen attentively. It is because the patient with COVID-19 have anxiety problem. And then identification the personal hygiene. This intervention to the patient with COVID-19, it's because the patient with COVID-19 have a nursing problem like a self-care deficit. And then provide self-care according to the patient condition. And then immediately give supplemental oxygen therapy with a target SpO2 more than 94%. And then monitoring for complication of respiratory failure and septic shock. Disease monitoring can nursing do is blood pressure and then skin color, and then observe the patient comorbid condition. Like I talked this before, the comorbid of this COVID-19 is lung chronic disease, and then renal disease, and then cardiopulmonary disease, and the last is diabetes. And then if we have the patient with have saturation is low, we can do the endotracheal intubation. And the last is strong mechanical ventilation with low tidal volume. This is a point of evaluation or between TB and COVID-19. The first evaluation point of TB is respiratory rate. The second point is anterior posterior chest diameter. And the third, use of accessory muscle to the brain. Next, color of sputum. And the last is weight gain. But in COVID-19, we can, the point of the evaluation, I have the 7 points for this. The first is blood gas analysis, and then respiration status, hemodynamic status, then urine production, glucomaskin level, anxiety level, and the last, the ability to the bath, dress, eat, and toilet. Next. Okay, this is a reference for our material. This is my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to the Ms. Nada Asar Prandini, Bachelor of Nursing, for conveying material things in a wonderful way. From this, it's a visible form of service to the tuberculosis and COVID patient. Next, before the next speaker, I want to say hello to Miss Tiffany. Has Miss Tiffany joined with us? If you has joined with us, can you raise hand? Good morning, Miss Tiffany. Miss Tiffany, has Miss Tiffany joined with us? If you has joined with us, can you raise hand? Before five speaker has been able to join with us, we open first question and answer. Okay, the first question I will select from chat or YouTube commentary column. From some question, I will select first. The first question is Mr. Hendra Kurniawan from Konkan University, Thailand. Hello, Mr. Hendra. Can you relay the question for the speaker? Mr. Hendra, can you turn on your audio?
I can. Okay, it can. Hello, can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity for me to give a question. And I have a question For the second speaker, Sir Earl Francis from the Philippines. Such an interesting talk, sir. And I have one question for you about convalescent plasma therapy. I would like to ask about the efficacy of this kind of therapy between normal people and immunocompromised ones, since we know that normal people still create and build their immune system and including antibody normally, but not in immunocompromised one. And why I ask this question, because this kind of therapy is still being an investigation in Indonesia. Could you share about this convalescent plasma therapy in the Philippines, please, to us this morning? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for a question for Mr. R. Francis Arsumile from Philippines. To the Honorable Mr. R. Francis
Yes.
Arsumile.
Can I be heard? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Thank you for the question. I would agree to Hendra that this therapy is under investigation. Generally speaking, whatever protocols that we are implementing right now in managing patients with COVID-19 are all in evolving phase. They are still subject to investigation, and we're still getting more information. So here in our country, although it's under investigation, we're using it. It's being widely used in most of our COVID-19 facilities, following WHO recommendations that number one, the convalescent plasma therapy as a conventional treatment is used only for severely ill or critically ill patients with COVID-19. So since this is a very limited or scarce resource, we are allocating it for our patients who are currently in the intensive care unit. And we have seen marked improvement, okay, among our patients who have received convalescent therapy. Second is that not all patients who recovered from COVID-19 can donate their blood that can be used for the convalescent plasma therapy. So we are doing some screening procedures because we need to detect the levels of antibody in their blood. So if the levels of the antibody are too low, we don't anymore subject them to the blood transfusion because it will be useless transfusing it to our patients. Third, patients who have recovered, they are recommended to be at a certain time frame. Although it's still evolving, some recommendations vary from 4 days to 7 days from the time of recovery. So again, what is crucial is really to detect the levels of the antibody. So far, we have seen some marked improvement among our severely ill patients. But again, there's also a considerable number of patients who have not improved even with convalescent therapy, and we attribute it to comorbidity. So if the patient in the intensive care unit critically ill with COVID-19 has several comorbidities, like apart from diabetes, they have hypertension, they have kidney failure. Even if they're subjected to convalescent plasma therapy, they don't really respond. So again, there is need for more empirical proof, okay, on the recommendations for the use of convalescent plasma therapy.
Okay, thank you for the answer from Mr. R. Francis. How the Mr. Hendra, is that clear enough for the answer first question from speaker?
Hello. Okay, I think it's clear enough. Thank you for your explanation, sir. And maraming salamat po and sawadee from Thailand.
Okay, thank you. I hope the answer can be accept for the all participants. Next, I would like to read the second question from YouTube. The question from Andi to Dr. Wahyudi Widodo. I want to ask to Dr. Wahyudi Widodo about cupping therapy for COVID-19. Please explain about the dose of cupping therapy or how many times of cupping the therapy should be given that can improve the immune system. And did the cupping therapy can be done for all kind of COVID patient or with some consideration? Thank you. Are you ready to answer?
Okay, thank you. I will answer for that question. Cupping in healthy patient is carried out once a month. But in patient with healthy problem, every 2 weeks. And on patient with COVID, can I wait once every 70 on the back and the next week on the chest as alternative. There is no definite dose because it's depend on the condition patient and pathological of the disease. Preferably 7 sunnah point and 2 brachial point. Maybe it's enough.
Okay. Thank you for the answer from Dr. Wahyudi Widodo, Master of Medicine, which I hope will be clear and acceptable to seminar participant today. And the third question from YouTube, from AB from Indonesia, to Mr. And Mrs. Akemi. Okay, to Mr. from the Philippines and Mrs. Akemi from Japan. I would like to read the third question. The question is, please share how how your country educates people in the community to obedience the government regulation about COVID-19. Is there any special way or certain program, especially to beginners? Thank you. For the first, Mr. R. Francis can answer the question.
Good morning, and thank you for asking. Here in our country, what we are doing is educating our communities through our primary healthcare facilities. So we have what we call health centers or polyclinics. Okay, and we have nurses assigned in these facilities, and they're the ones who go to communities to educate specific population groups. Now, the downside of this is that it's limited because with quarantine measures in place, we cannot do mass gathering. So we're also relying on social media. We're also using other forms of mass media to inform our population about specific measures on how they can protect themselves. But as a private citizen, what I think that we can still do is really to use, by the way, our national television and dedicate a certain time to inform the people about why there is a need for quarantine. It's because even if we have the longest quarantine, it's running 5 months. The number of cases are still increasing in our country. So I think there's still that gap because not all population groups from all economic status are reached by that information. And I think we can learn from one another best practices on how we can really educate people from across all walks of life so that they can protect themselves and contribute to our goal of reducing the spread of the disease.
Thank you for the answer from Mr. Earl Francis. Next, answer from Dr. Akemi Karya from Japan. To Dr. Akemi Karya from Japan, time is yours to answer the question. Hello, Dr. Akemi.
We already have a similar question to our professor. So first, it is possible for you to see our answers to your question. Let me read what we wrote. So we have a question from the galleries. Said, what the guarantee for the patient if indeed the use of telemedicine online visit can create effective service to patient at this time of COVID-19? Our answer is, if COVID-19 case, first we need to call to the health center, and that fee is free right now. However, when we go to the examination, whether or not we have a COVID-19, you must bring the health insurance card guarantee and have to pay the payment of about 6,000 Japanese yen. If the people want to test whether or not they have a COVID-19 by themselves, their own pocket, it will cost 18,000 Japanese yen.
Thank you for the answer from Dr. Akemi Karya from Japan. I hope will be clear and acceptable to all participants Ners today. Okay, for the first session Q&A, I would like to read the last question from YouTube. The question from Rio Triwahyu, University of Muhammadiyah Jember. The question for first speaker, Dr. Wahyudi Widodo, Master of Medicine. Okay. Because from Indonesia and the speaker from Indonesia, I will read by Indonesia. Assalamualaikum, saya Rio Triwahyu dari Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember. Pertanyaan untuk Bapak Wahyudi Widada. Pada terapi komplementer tersebut, apa ada persyaratan khusus dalam menjamin mutu terapi tersebut? Dan apakah perlu ada pertanyaan khusus dalam menjamin mutu terapi? Dan mohon penjelasannya. Oke, to the Mr. Dr. Wahyudi Widodo, time is yours.
Terima kasih. Ini sering ditanyakan oleh pasien, bagaimana cara memilih terapis bekam yang aman. Saya sarankan nomor 1, usahakan dari tenaga kesehatan, dokter atau perawat. Yang kedua, sudah mengikuti ujian standarisasi yang diadakan oleh Perkumpulan Bekam Indonesia atau PBI. Jadi perawat, maksud saya nakes, kemudian yang kedua terapis bekam yang sudah mengikuti ujian standarisasi Perkumpulan Bekam Indonesia. Insya Allah ini sudah memenuhi kualifikasi standar karena mereka mengikuti SOP yang telah dibuat oleh PBI. Seminggu yang lalu saya ikut diskusi diundang oleh Litbangkes Kemenkes. Di situ membicarakan tentang keamanan dan manfaat dari terapi bekam basah. Jadi perkara bekam ini sudah sampai ke tingkat Kemenkes, mereka mendiskusikan apakah terapi bekam basah ini nanti bisa dijadikan sebagai layanan kesehatan tradisional. Nah, kalau nanti dinyatakan layak untuk dijadikan sebagai salah satu terapi yang kestrat, maka tenaga kesehatan, tenaga pembekam sebaiknya adalah dari nakes. Mereka harus berpendidikan minimal 3 tahun. Itu yang kami dapat informasi dari diskusi dengan Litbangkes Kemenkes RI. Terima kasih.
Oke, terima kasih kepada Bapak Dr. Wahyudi Widada untuk jawabannya yang sangat luar biasa. Semoga dari penanya dapat memahami jawaban dari Dr. Wahyudi Widada, Magister Kedokteran. Okay, I would like to say hello again to Miss Tiffany Wang. Good morning. If you has joined with us, can you raise hand? Okay, because Miss Tiffany has not been able to join with us, I would like to question and answer again. I would like read a question to Nada. The question from Mira from Indonesia. Okay. I would like to read with the Indonesian. Kepada Saudari Nada, saya dari Mirah dari Indonesia. Penyakit manakah yang utama dari pasien penderita COVID-19 dan penyakit tuberkulosis paru? Dan bagaimanakah cara untuk mendokumentasikan keperawatannya? Oke, kepada Saudari Nada Azhar, Sarjana Keperawatan, dipersilahkan.
Terima kasih atas pertanyaannya. Before I want to try answer this question with Indonesian language. Pertanyaan dari Saudari Mirah, jadi pertanyaannya adalah penyakit manakah utama dari pasien dengan penderita COVID-19 dan penyakit TB. Jadi dari pertanyaan ini kita bisa garis bawahi, jadi di antara dua penyakit ini fokus mana dulu yang harus kita tangani. Berdasarkan dari literatur atau dari panduan Kementerian Kesehatan Republik Indonesia, jadi dua penyakit ini harus diatasi secara bersamaan dengan prioritas pada gejala COVID-19 atau COVID-19 yang paling utama dulu untuk diatasi. Kemudian bagaimana dokumentasi keperawatan? Jika kita bicara tentang dokumentasi keperawatan, kita bicara tentang proses keperawatan. Jadi dalam proses keperawatan itu ada 5 poin yang harus dilakukan oleh perawat. Jadi ada yang pertama adalah pengkajian, kemudian diagnosa keperawatan, dan yang ketiga diagnosa keperawatan, yang keempat adalah perencanaan, dan yang terakhir adalah evaluasi. Bagaimana pendokumentasiannya? Jadi awal kita harus mengetahui, harus melakukan pengkajian. Pada pasien dengan COVID-19 atau pada pasien dengan COVID-19, utamanya muncul beberapa gejala. Biasanya gejalanya itu hampir sama dengan pasien dengan TB. Pada protokol kesehatan yang saat ini sedang berlaku, pasien dengan gejala-gejala yang lebih cenderung kepada COVID-19 akan diarahkan pada tes PCR. Selama itu, pasien dengan COVID-19 akan dikarantina di rumah sampai hasil swab-nya itu keluar. Kemudian, jika swab itu sudah keluar dan hasilnya positif, maka akan dilakukan perawatan di rumah sakit yang sudah ditunjuk. Kemudian, basic dari pengkajian kita akan menemukan data-data yang lain seperti dari pemeriksaan fisik dan juga pemeriksaan penunjang. Pasien dengan COVID-19 dengan TB, dia perlu penanganan khusus di mana keduanya harus berjalan secara seiringan, namun kita memprioritaskan seperti yang sudah saya jelaskan tadi, yaitu berfokus pada COVID-19-nya. Kemudian diagnosisnya adalah berdasarkan dari data yang sudah ditemukan pada saat pengkajian berdasarkan prioritas masalahnya. Kemudian dalam melakukan intervensi keperawatan kita juga berfokus pada diagnosa yang telah diambil. Di sini kita bisa menggunakan referensi, bisa dari Indonesia kita punya Standar Intervensi Nasional Indonesia atau SIKI, atau kita bisa menggunakan dengan menggunakan NICNOC jika kita berpanduan pada internasional. Kemudian poin yang terakhir yaitu kita bisa melakukan evaluasi setelah dilakukan intervensi, di mana evaluasi ini kita ambil dari kriteria hasil yang sudah ditetapkan pada saat perencanaan. Saya rasa cukup. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih saya ucapkan kepada Saudari Nada Azhar Prandini, Sarjana Keperawatan, untuk jawaban yang telah disampaikan. Saya harap dari penanya dapat memahami dan mengerti jawaban dari Saudari Nada. Okay, next I got a new information from Miss Tiffany. Miss Tiffany can join with us because she was sick. And then the next session, we continue with the session question and answer. I would like to read the next question. Good morning, I am Juniarto from Jogja. I would like to ask to Mr. Earl about what kind of food supplements and exercise that we can do to increase our immune. Okay, that's question from Juniarto from Jogja to Mr. Earl.
Oh, yes.
Can you hear me?
Thank you for the question. I think I have responded to that on the chat box. But again, just to reiterate, there is no single supplement recommended to boost the immune system. We always need to keep in mind that best will always be combination. So if we're going to look at the current evidence that we have, the extant literature tells us that it's always a combination of supplements, healthy lifestyle that will benefit the immune system. And in terms of supplements, what specific vitamins have an established strong correlation with boosting the immune system would be zinc and vitamin D. Although vitamin C has always been there, but zinc and vitamin D combined, will actually have a better, benefits to boost the immune system. But again, it must be combined with adequate rest, exercise, subject to different variables.
Okay, thank you for the answer from Mr. Earl Francis from Philippines, which I hope will be clear and acceptable to all participants. Before that, I would like to wish for Miss Tiffany of get well soon, and we will and next question from Indra. I would like to read from Indra. In this pandemic era, there are many articles on complementary therapies so that the body's immune system is protected from the COVID virus. But patients who come to health service often treat symptoms rather than increase their immunity. How to convince many people to increase their immunity, and we as nurse must act to recommend complementary therapies, or we are pressured to treat symptoms so that the patient's suggestion in increase and their immune system in maintained. The question for Mr. Er and Dr. Akemi. For the first, to Mr. Er to answer the question.
Uh, Sorry, I missed the question. Pardon. The question again is about how complementary therapy. Is that correct? How complementary therapy can be used to boost the immune system? Is that the question?
Okay, the question is,
Once more?
Yeah, please. Can you repeat the question?
yes,
The audio
in this
earlier was it not clear?
in this pandemic era, there are many articles on complementary therapies so that the body's immune system is protected from the COVID virus, but patient who comes to health service often treat symptoms rather than increase their immunity. How to convince many people to increase their immunity, and we as nurse must act to recommend complementary therapies, or we are pressured to treat symptoms so that the patient suggestion is increased and their immune system is maintained.
Okay, thank you. That's a very interesting question indeed. Number one, it was mentioned that there are many people who are treating signs and symptoms, okay, of allegedly COVID-19 rather than boosting their immune system. That is, I think, a problem in most of our countries. I think globally, people have that orientation of, curative care. Okay. The problem with that is obviously we're not uh, by the way uh, fully informed of what really is the cure for this COVID-19 infection. There is no established already treatment for it. Everything is subject to investigation. So obviously, what experts or healthcare providers are doing is that they're managing the signs and symptoms. So what we can do, okay, is really to focus on the promotive and preventive aspect of care by engaging communities, by engaging population groups. That instead of focusing on cure, what we can do is look at the bigger picture. Okay, and what is the bigger picture? Although we have already reached that milestone of having several millions of people all over the world has COVID-19, but there's still a bigger number of people without it. So if we're going to focus on those bigger, okay, number of people without COVID-19, the question is, what therefore can we do? Is simply protect ourselves, okay, and then make use of complementary therapies that will boost the immune system. And um, this, by the way, are well established already complementary approaches, and that includes the use of supplements. Okay, and then do not rely on a single approach. It must always be a combination. So apart from taking supplements, which is already established, scientifically proven, there is a need for us to venture into alternative options like the use of exercise, mind-body exercises like Tai Chi, Qigong, that's yoga. Okay, we can do that. Okay, meditation is also important. Um, and approaching, by the way, boosting the immune system on a holistic approach is really the best. So as nurses, what we can do is really talk to people. Okay, use our platform. So if you have social media, you can share information to encourage more people to focus on boosting their immune system rather than simply thinking of a cure. Because as of the moment, we cannot rely on the vaccine yet because we're still on the race towards that. So again, I appeal to my colleagues in the profession, fellow nurses. It's high time that we take that role of communicating health information to the public better.
Thank you for the answer from Mr. Francis R. Sumile, Doctor of Philosophy, Registered Nurse. And next answer from Dr. Akemi Karya from Japan. Time is yours.
Let me clarify. Let me clarify what your question. My understand is your question is how the CAM improves the immune system. Is this correct? Okay.
Yes.
So our research lab did a lot of study about the complementary alternative medicine for many years. So in order to getting the scientific evidence, we did a lot of testing. For instance, brain blood stream, how the brain blood stream is changed after use the CAM, or please wait, or and we also test the blood test, how the immune
IgG.
system, IgG, such as IgG, is changed after the CAM. Our data show that CAM have a strong effect. Strong って言っていいですかね? We also tested the cerebella from the mouse. And 強い効果があると言っていいですか? And all our research results show the strong effect of improving the immune system after using the CAM.
で、ハーバードでも最近同じような追試をしてくれて。
The similar kind of study also conducted by the Harvard University at the USA, and まだ結果は出てない。
出てる。
They also found a similar result. So we believe that CAM is one way to fight with COVID-19.
Thank you for the answer from Dr. Akemi Karya from Japan. Next, I would like to read next question. The next question from Lani. Lani is from India. The question for Dr. Akemi Karya from Japan. I'm sorry, the question for Dr. Wahyudi Widada. Okay. I'm Leni from India. Would like to ask Mr. Wahyudi, how cupping therapy can cure COVID-19 patient, and please explain when we can use it. Lastly, how the cupping therapy can eliminate metabolism. To Dr. Wahyudi Widada, Master of Medicine, time is yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Lani in India. I try to answer your question. When we cupping in certain area on the back or on the chest, it will improve the function of organ nearby, especially bronchial. Effect in the airway occur cell signaling on respiratory tract, which will relieve the cytokine storm. The cupping therapy is a unique and amazing therapy. In early state, on normal patient, head patient, cupping increase immunity, which effectively to prevent the development of the virus. But on state of infection patient, cupping relieve inflammation with ability of interleukin 6 so that the immunomucosal doesn't produce excessive cytokine. The immunomucosal produce excessive, it causes function of interleukin 6 active. When we give a treat of capping makes the interleukin 6 reduce or relief, and so that it's make anti-inflammation. On step 3, cupping causes keratinocyte to express hypoxia inducible factor, and it's make cell inflammation active. When the cell inflammation active, they will express interleukin 1, interleukin 6, interleukin 10, and tumor necrosis factor, the NF alpha, to be monocytosis. And then monocytosis will be differentiating to macrophages. And the end stage and the end process, macrophages will phagocyte viruses and cytokine, and it's make inflammation subsides. I hope my answer can make your question is clearly. Thank you.
Thank you for the answer from Dr. Wahyudi Widodo, Master of Medicine. Next, this is a last question from Debbie. Debbie is from Indonesia. The question for Dr. Akemi from Japan. I would like to read a question. More cases of COVID-19 are in hospitals. We treat COVID-19 patients every day with a lot of comorbid, so that the complexity of the disease is very heavy. The first question is, now, how do we maintain our body immunity as nurse? And then complementary therapy that can be used in the hospital as a medical assistant so that the patient immunity also increase. To Dr. Akemi Karya from Japan, time is yours to answer the question.
Thank you very much for the great question. First, unfortunately, we do not provide the CAM as an organization to our nurses. If the nurses wanted to do want to do CAM as a self-care, they just do what they are interested or they want to do, such as yoga or the acupuncture. Of course, we are encouraged to take enough sleep and enough nutrition during and after the shift. That is our question. Is it enough answer to the question?
Question is, how do we maintain our body immune as nurse? And the second is complementary therapy that can be used in the hospital as a medical assistant so that the patient immunity also increase.
Yeah, I understand. And in Japan right now, CAM can be used by the self-care as is a part of self-care. So nurses take care of themselves, do their yoga, acupuncture, or massage, in order to improve their immune system? That is our question, answers.
Thank you for the answer from Dr. Akemi Karya. Okay, the next session is I would like to say thank you to the audience and the speakers. I would like to say thank you to all participants with actively. Now that we have almost complete today agenda, thank you for the all speaker and who had delivered the material. That's the end of the International Online Nursing Conference with the about stimulating the immune system through complementary therapies-based nursing practice in the new normal era. Before we close this session, I would like to speakers from the Philippines and Japan to give the close statement to all participants. The close statement first to Mr. Earl Francis R. Sumile from the Philippines. Time is yours.
I would like again to thank the organizers for this opportunity to share, and I would like to congratulate all of you for successfully organizing this event, and we hope that we have contributed to the attainment of your objectives for the conference. And for our colleagues, for my fellow nurses, thank you for joining us, and I appeal to everybody to embrace our role as advocates of promoting health to our communities. Let us not look at hospitals as centers, okay, for fighting COVID-19, but it should begin in our communities. So in our spheres of influence, we talk to people and then encourage them to explore alternative ways of boosting their immune system, like considering the use of complementary alternative therapies that are already widely established, scientifically proven. And with that, thank you for this opportunity, and I wish everybody good health in the next months. Thank you.
Thank you for the close statement from Dr. Earl Francis R. Sumile from the Philippines. And the next close statement from Dr. Akemi Karya from Japan. Time is yours.
Thank you very much. This conference very interesting, and we speed my conference.
Thank you very much for allowing us to attend this conference. Our research career, academic career research lab plan to have our international conference that we already showed in the chat room. So we will have the conference on February 14th by Zoom. In this conference, we will focus on how we can keep the health insurance in this COVID-19 era. Right now in Japan, many hospitals have a difficult time to keep their business since their business. So in order to solve this situation, we will want to discuss the insurance system, how we can change our health care system for the future. So if you are interested, please join the conference. We are looking forward to see you in the Zoom next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the Dr. Akemi from Japan. Okay. We would like to thank you to all speakers who have provided a lot of information to all of us, and also the audience for participants in the international seminar today. Okay, the next event is we will continue with the documentation session. The speaker and participant were asked to prepare yourself, and please click on video. Please turn on video. Okay, when please follow me. Uh, please raise your hand like this. Okay. Okay, I will take a picture for the first slide. 1, 2, 3. Kiss. Next, I would like to take picture of the second slide. 1, 2, 3. Next, the third slide. 1, 2, 3. Next, the fourth slide. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. The next slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Next. I have 19 slides. Be patient. Okay. Next slide. Okay. The last slide. Okay, I would like to adjust a reminder for field attendance in evaluation form. Please click on the link shown in the chat Zoom or on the link YouTube in YouTube. For material fields can be downloaded at the link below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the YouTube channel. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dwi Rizky Novitasari, Bachelor of Nursing. As the moderator, would like to thank you all of you for joining this international seminar, and please apologize me for any mistake in speech. We look forward to seeing you at the next event. Wish you all a pleasant day. To close the International Online Nursing Conference today, let's say Hamdalah. Alhamdulillah. For the last time, thank you for the extraordinary participants. Billahi fisabilil haq, fastabikul khairat. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, goodbye, and see you again. Thank you, Dr. Akemi Karya from Japan and Mr. Earl Francis from the Philippines. See you next time.
Sponsor ya. Sudah ditulis tulisannya opsional dan wis gak digawe wajib.
Ya Allah, akhirnya selesai.
Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember telah melaksanakan kegiatan pendidikan keperawatan sejak tahun 1993. Setelah memberikan kiprahnya selama 13 tahun, keperawatan Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember bertransformasi menjadi Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember yang dilakukan pendiriannya pada tahun 2006. Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember telah menyelenggarakan 3 program studi, yaitu ketiga keperawatan dan 1 ilmu keperawatan dan profesi ners. Sebelumnya Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember juga tidak lepas dari sumber daya pendidik yang di dalam bidangnya. Proses perkuliahan juga didukung dengan fasilitas laboratorium yang menunjang pembelajaran ilmu keperawatan. Itu terdiri dari laboratorium keperawatan, laboratorium keperawatan, laboratorium keperawatan, serta laboratorium keperawatan komunitas dan keluarga. Ilmu kesehatan Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember juga tersedia laboratorium clinical examination atau USC yang digunakan untuk menguji kompetensi klinis mahasiswa secara objektif dan terstruktur. Untuk mencapai visi fakultas, seluruh proses pembelajaran di Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember selalu didasarkan pada spiritual nursing care yang mengedepankan nilai-nilai keislaman. Keselarasan proses pembelajaran yang optimal juga ditunjukkan dengan pembelajaran berbasis pengabdian masyarakat melalui field laboratorium yang langsung menyentuh keseluruhan mulai dari individu, keluarga, masyarakat, mengintegrasikan ilmu keperawatan yang sesungguhnya. Proses pembelajaran di Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember menggunakan sarana dan prasarana kelas yang nyaman dan mendukung, yang disertai dengan metode pembelajaran yang terarah, sehingga mahasiswa mampu memaksimalkan cara berpikir kritis dan inovatif. Untuk itu, Kesehatan Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember selalu dituntut untuk meningkatkan mutu pendidikan sebagai langkah untuk mempersiapkan insan akademis yang mampu menyelesaikan perawatan di masa depan. Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember telah memperoleh status akreditasi U. Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan Universitas Muhammadiyah Jember terus menjaga konsistensi